You know, I'm pretty competitive. And I think for the folks who see me on Tuesdays and Fridays, I am pretty competitive. I don't like to lose at things. Again, it's not, you know, I was an athlete. I carry the competition thing all along. So I'll tell you a very short story about Kalu. So Kalu in his freshman year told me that he was going to dunk on me. I remember this in the day. Right now, 4 years later, you know, I still remember this. Kalu barely remembers it, but I remind him. Whenever he almost goes up to dunk on me, like, it's never going to happen. It's almost like you're never going to dunk on me. Still got 2 months. And Kalu knows. It doesn't matter what happens. Kalu will never dunk on me. I don't care if I have to tackle him at mid-court. And so it's one of the things that does sort of, I'm competitive by nature. And so it doesn't mean I have to win at things, but I feel like I have to be competitive at stuff. And so that's sort of one of the things that drives me. You know, I'm also one of the very lucky people in the world that's never had a bad job. And I haven't had a lot of jobs, but I've never had a bad job. In higher education, I've loved my work. And so I love working at Kobe University. I've loved working at Wheaton College. I love the consulting work I do at other colleges. I love what I do. You know, so I don't wake up in the morning and go, oh, what if I did something else? I'm one of those lucky people that I get up in the morning and I love my work. Like, I never go, oh my God, I don't want to go to work today. Like, I've not had that. The last time I had that experience, I was working in the corporate environment, and I got up in the morning and I was like, sweet Jesus, I do not want to go to work today. But since I came into higher education, I've never had a morning like that, you know, and I really feel blessed in that way. And so that motivates me. So when I get contacted by search firms about other jobs, the first thing I say is, listen, I have a great job. Like, let me explain. I work at Wheaton College. I have a great job. And I don't want to break my streak. I've never had a bad job. So whatever you're calling me to talk to me about, it better be a great opportunity, because I'm not listening otherwise. And those things are important to me. As long as I can really stay motivated and stay competitive. I like being good at what I do. I like for students to leave my office or at the end of this experience say, I had a better experience because Dean Vasquez helped me with something, or I had a good relationship with Dean Vasquez and that made my experience different. So I like the opportunity to impact students' lives. I particularly enjoy working with men, and I work with lots of men of color. That is really close to me. I do that in my work life. I do it in my personal life. I chair a foundation that gives scholarships to men of color in high school in the Providence area. So that's one of the things that really stays consistent. The reason that's important to me is because I've had, as I mentioned already, my father, I've always had very strong male mentors. I've had men along my entire career. I feel blessed. And along my entire life that have pretty much taught me how to stay in my lane and taught me how to sort of take risks, you know. And so when I'm doing things that folks feel like aren't going to work, there were upperclassmen who said, yeah, that's not how we roll. We won't do it like that around here. And really taught me how to be successful, right, and how to make mistakes in a safe way. And that's been, you know, that's been a blessing to me. You know, so those things keep me motivated. The fact that I love working with students, I hope that never changes. The fact that I have great mentors, I hope that never changes. I mean, the fact that I've had great mentors makes me more want to be a great mentor to folks. I always want to be around so folks will know I'll respond to emails at 11:30 at night or 12 o'clock if I'm up. Unfortunately, I watch NBA basketball, so I'm up. And so I try to do those things, and they keep me pretty committed. I also think there are lots of challenges in the world, and if you're not contributing to those, then what are you doing? Like, there's a lot of stuff to solve, you know. And so I keep my mind pretty active in that way. It's hard to do that as a doctoral student and doing other stuff, but I do my best to stay engaged. At the same time, it's exhausting. So when you guys are tired, I'll be tired. It's just, that is the way it is sometimes. But I enjoy what I do a lot.
Okay, thank you. Now, within the context of our college community, how can we aim to create a better representation of racial diversity that exists in our American society?
You know, that's tough. You know, that's a tough question to ask at a place like Wheaton, because size matters, you know, and your context matters. You know, this is an institution that tuition is up over $50,000. We're one of the 100 most selected colleges in the country. Everybody doesn't have this opportunity. And so when you think college is not going to grow in that sense. So we're looking at 500 spots. Of those 500 spots, there's a percentage of students here that will pay a significant portion of this bill. That limits the population if you think about the because socioeconomic status matters and it's impacted by race. So that shrinks the pool. The pretty competitive academic environment. So you gotta have the goods when you get here, right? You have to have had the high school background. You have to, so that limits the pool. So there are a lot of things. So the way I think about it is not so much in terms of numbers, but in terms of impact. What kind of experience can we create for the most diverse community that we can have on campus? And can that be a strong enough, a positive enough, an impactful enough experience that these students can then go out and grow and impact other communities, right? I see college as a starting point, not as an ending point. So as much as I would like Wheaton to be the most diverse place out there, the fact is when we look at our student body, it's fairly diverse. When I came in 11 years ago, certainly it wasn't, so it's all relative. Our faculty, if you compare it to other liberal arts colleges, is actually very diverse. You know, everybody doesn't always agree with that, but if you look at our conference school, it's actually very diverse. So you have to think of diversity on several fronts, right? So not only at the student level, but what does the faculty look like? What kind of model and role models do we have for students on campus that really reflect what the world looks like, right? So I think of it in those ways. Access to higher education is an issue. It's an issue here, and it's an issue almost everywhere else. There are going to be more students wanting to go to college than we have seats in colleges, and that's going to be an issue for the country. It's going to be an issue for the world. Are we likely to open more schools? I mean, I study higher education. I think the answer to that is no. We're not likely to open more schools. But, you know, the questions that people ask is, does this need to be a 4-year process or can it be a shorter process? If it were a shorter process, you could bring more students in on a sort of more constrained cycle. So maybe college in the future is going to be a shorter time period and we can get more students through in that way. Online education is important. I don't think it's very good. And I say, I don't think it's very good yet. I think it'll get there. I think it has to because it really is what we're putting our energy behind. So that's another way to really get access. But I wouldn't say that it's super successful right now. I think at this level, we have to make sure that we're educating students to make change in other areas. So college being one piece of it, let's try to make it as accessible as possible. It's why we go out spending so much money on financial aid. You know, we want to be as diverse as possible. And we know that our students are competitive and have offers at 100 places around the country, and we want them here. So when we hand select our 500 kids to come, we want it to be a particular kind of class that's going to make a particular kind of impact and it's going to go out there and change the world. If it were up to me and they asked me how many accountants do you want to train, I'm going to say 0. How many cashiers do you want to train? 0. How many people do you want to train to change the world? 500 students that come in a year, we want to train 500 students to change the world because in that way we impact many other sectors of society. But that only happens if we do it right here first, right? And so where my energies are really focused are saying, how do we change that experience so that that experience is the most impactful